I stood in the driveway, heart pounding, as a figure emerged from the shadows. "Evening, James," the man said, his voice like ice. But when I grinned and replied, "You know I taught you better than that," the hitman's eyes widened in shock. What happened next? No one saw it coming. If you think HOA drama is bad, wait until you hear about the chaos that erupted when a 60-year-old woman married a 26-year-old man. The neighbors didn't just gossip, they called CPS. It got that serious. And the twist? You'll never see it coming. But my story? It's wilder. I never thought the HOA would go this far. Sure, they fined me for leaving my trash bins out 5 minutes too long and sent nasty letters about my lawn's height. But trying to kill me? That was a new low. It all started with something small, ridiculous, really. My mailbox was 2 inches too tall. I got a notice taped to my door, a bright red slip with the HOA logo screaming, "Violation notice. Mailbox exceeds allowable height by 2 inches. Fine, $150. Immediate compliance required." I stood on my lawn, holding that slip, and laughed. 2 inches? Was this what my HOA dues paid for? Someone with a tape measure stalking the neighborhood? I crumpled the notice and tossed it into the trash. "Idiots," I muttered. That's when I saw Mr. Carver across the street, arms crossed, HOA badge clipped to his belt. Carver was the HOA president, arrogant, obsessed with control. He didn't just enforce rules, he relished it. He strolled toward me, that smug smile making my skin crawl. "Good afternoon, James," he said smoothly. "Carver," I replied, already annoyed. "Got a problem?" His smile widened. "It's not my problem, it's yours." He nodded at the crumpled notice. "Mailbox height violations are serious." I snorted. "Serious?" 2 inches. "It's about standards," Carver said. "If we let one homeowner slide, others think they can ignore the rules. That's how communities fall apart." Communities fall apart over mailboxes? I stepped closer, voice low. "What are you going to do, Carver?" "Call the cops." His eyes darkened. "We have ways of handling noncompliance." I laughed. "Like what?" "More nasty letters." Carver leaned in, smile icy. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that." I watched him walk away, jaw tight. I knew Carver was a bully hiding behind bylaws, but I didn't think he had the guts to back up his threats. I was wrong. A week later, another violation notice arrived, this time for putting my trash bins out 15 minutes early. Fine, $200. I tossed it in the trash. 2 days later, my car alarm blared at 3 a.m. I stumbled outside in pajamas, heart racing, to find my windows smashed, glass strewn across the driveway. A note was taped to the hood, "Follow the rules." This wasn't random vandalism. It was personal. I checked my security footage, but the file was corrupted, professionally wiped. My stomach churned. Then my dog, Rusty, vanished. The back gate was wide open. I searched the neighborhood, throat raw from calling his name. Carver sat on his porch, sipping iced tea, watching me without a word. I stormed over. "Where's my dog?" "That's unfortunate," he said coolly. "Maybe if you followed the rules, these things wouldn't happen." My fists clenched. "You did this." Carver stood, inches from me. "Actions have consequences, James." I wanted to hit him, but I knew he'd love an excuse to call the cops. "Instead," I said, "you have no idea who you're messing with." His smile didn't falter. "Let's hope it stays that way." That night, I sat in my dark living room, staring at the broken glass in the driveway. My phone buzzed, a block number. I answered. "Evening, James," a low voice said. "We need to talk." "Who is this?" "Let's just say your HOA thinks you've been difficult." My blood ran cold. "They've decided it's time to handle this more directly." "You're joking." "No," the voice said. "But if it's any comfort, I won't make you suffer." "How generous," I said coldly. A pause. "They didn't tell me the full story about you." My pulse quickened. "What do you mean?" "You're calm," the man said. "Most people aren't this calm when they're marked for death." I smiled. "They didn't tell you the full story either." Silence. "I train people like you," I said slowly. "I know how this works. The posture, the tone, the approach. I know exactly how you'll try to kill me." The man's voice sharpened. "Who the hell are you?" "Guess you'll find out soon enough." I hung up, hands steady, mind clear. If the HOA wanted a fight, I was ready. I was crouched by my car, checking the brake lines under a flickering street lamp, when I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate. My instinct screamed. I straightened, wiping my hands on my jeans, as a tall figure stepped into the light. Black jacket, black gloves, dark jeans. His stance was tactical, weight balanced, hands relaxed but ready. A professional. "Evening, James," he said, smiling faintly, no warmth in it. "You're on private property. Just here to talk." "Talk?" I leaned against the car. "You don't look like a talker." "Depends on how you respond." I glanced at his hands, gloved, no bulge, but his jacket sagged slightly on the left. "Gun holster." "Who sent you?" "Your HOA has grievances. They think you're a problem." I scoffed. "And you're the solution? Make sure you don't cause more problems." I nodded slowly. "Interesting. Because I'm planning to cause a lot of problems." He smiled. "Good thing I'm here." "You know," I said, voice low, "I trained people like you." His smile faded. "What? Former military?" "Private contract work." His stance tightened, barely noticeable. "I've seen that posture before. 6 years in the 3rd Battalion? Or something more specialized?" He didn't answer, but his eyes betrayed him. His hand twitched toward his jacket. "Gun." I smiled coldly. "Yeah, that's what I thought." "They didn't tell me you were ex-military," he said. "They wouldn't know. I don't advertise." His breathing slowed, recalculating. "They said you were just a stubborn homeowner. Funny how they left out the part where I train guys like you to kill high-value targets." He studied me, guarded. "So what happens now?" "Depends on how much trouble you're planning to cause." I smiled faintly. "Plenty." He exhaled, stepping back. "You walking away?" I asked. "For now." He vanished into the shadows. I stood there, heart steady, picking up the wrench I'd dropped. Carver had crossed a line. This wasn't intimidation, it was war. I'd spent years training men like that hitman. Carver was about to learn who he was messing with. The next day, the hitman, call him Ethan, showed up at my yard, hands in his pockets, calm but sharp. "You're comfortable coming back after last night," I said. "If you wanted me dead, I wouldn't have made it past the sidewalk." I gestured to a chair. "Sit." He did, eyes calculating. "What happens now?" "You've got 2 options. Walk away, or help me take down the HOA." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Betray my client?" "They betrayed you first. They sent you after someone who can handle you. You think Carver will let you walk after last night?" His jaw tightened. "You think he'll put a hit on me? You failed the job. You know too much." Ethan leaned forward. "And helping you fixes that. It ensures Carver can't touch either of us." He was silent, weighing risks. Then he smiled faintly. "All right, let's cause some trouble." We spent 2 days planning. I shared my intel. HOA financial records, blackmail material, surveillance footage. The HOA wasn't just petty fines. Carver and his circle ran an extortion racket. Fines were the surface. The real money came from bribes and forced property sales, flipped for profit. If homeowners resisted, Ethan would have been their solution. Quiet, clean, lethal. Ethan flipped through photos. "That's Carver's guy," he said, pointing to a bald man by a black SUV. "Victor Reed, ex-cop. Handles intimidation." "And him?" I pointed to another. "Paul Grant. Launders money through shell companies. Offshore accounts in the Caymans. You know a lot. I was hired to kill you. I did my homework." We targeted Reed first. Ethan and I tailed him to a dive bar. He was nursing a whiskey, talking to 2 rough-looking men. "How do you want to handle this?" Ethan asked. Fast and loud. We stormed in. Ethan grabbed Reed, slamming him against the table. Glass shattered. I aimed my gun at the others. "Sit." Ethan leaned into Reed's ear. "Tell Carver we're coming." We left, the bar in chaos. Outside, a black SUV idled. No plates, tinted windows. Ethan tensed. "Company." "Good," I said, hand on my holster. "Let them watch." Carver moved fast. That evening, he and 3 HOA board members showed up at my house. I opened the door to Carver's smug face, flanked by 2 suits. Reed stood at the steps, arms crossed. "We need to talk, James," Carver said. "Not interested. You've made things difficult. You could have followed the rules. Like sending a hitman? You can't prove anything." I smiled coldly. "You sure?" Ethan stepped out, holding a folder of Carver's financial records. "Actually, we can prove everything." He held up a recorder. "Been recording this whole conversation." Carver's face paled. Ethan pulled out documents, bank statements, property transfers. "You've been busy, Carver." We're not going to the cops, I said. We're leaking this to the media, the homeowners, everyone you've extorted. Carver's smile twisted. You think I'll let you ruin me? Try me. He nodded to Reed, who stepped back. You think you've won? He said. Not yet. Carver's eyes darkened. You're not ready for what's next. Bring it. He climbed into his SUV and drove off. Ethan slipped his gun away. That went well. It's not over, I said, gripping the folder. Now we hit back. The fallout was swift. The recording, Carver's threats and confessions, sparked outrage. Combined with financial records, it was dynamite. Police arrested Carver and most of the HOA board within days for extortion, racketeering, and conspiracy to commit murder. The media swarmed, broadcasting Carver's mugshot. Homeowners cheered as his empire collapsed. Reed took a plea deal, testifying against Carver. The rest of his crew turned on each other. By week's end, every major player faced charges. Ethan and I watched Carver get loaded into a police van outside the courthouse. He glared at me, defeated. Good work, Ethan said. Couldn't have done it without you. He shrugged. You saved my life. Least I could do. So what now? He smiled. Ever think about private security? I laughed. You're serious? You know how to think. That's rare. I'll think about it. We shook hands, and he blended into the crowd. The neighborhood transformed overnight. No more fines, no more threats. People talked, kids played, porches were used. Carver became a joke, his name mocked at barbecues. He got 20 years for extortion and racketeering, the murder conspiracy charge sealing his fate. A month later, I got a letter from him, crisp, deliberate handwriting. I didn't read it. I burned it on my porch, watching the ashes scatter. Ethan showed up minutes later. Bad news. Not anymore. He leaned against the railing. Hope you're not going soft. Depends. You sticking around. Business is good. Word spread after Carver. Homeowners, small businesses, they want protection. The quiet kind. I smiled. So what's the next job? He handed me a paper with a name and address. Client wants to meet tomorrow. Protection job. This gonna be trouble? Aren't they all? The street was quiet, but Ethan was right. Trouble always returns. Guess we'd better be ready, I said. He grinned. See you tomorrow. The neighborhood was safe, Carver was gone, and I was calling the shots. Justice was served my way. But if trouble came back, I wouldn't be alone. What do you think? Was James justified in his fight against the HOA, or did he go too far? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And let's talk about pranks in relationships. Where's the line between playful and cruel? Drop your opinions, and let's get the debate going. Hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat.